Is your wife's past killing you? Can't stop thinking about your wife's past? Wondering whether or not your wife's past is a deal breaker? You are not alone. Since I launched retroactivejealousy.com back in 2013, I've received thousands of emails from thousands of husbands struggling with their wife's past. Sometimes, a husband has been troubled by his wife's past since before their engagement. Other times, a husband only starts obsessing about his wife's past years or even decades after the wedding. Although I receive emails from men and women regarding all different kinds of retroactive jealousy, i.e., intrusive thoughts concerning a partner's past relationships/sexual history, emails from husbands troubled by their wife's past almost always come down to the same topic: sex. Some husbands are troubled by the fact of their wife having any sex with anyone else before they were married. Other husbands find out some dark sexual secret about their wife's past, which might be considered a deal breaker. However, most of the husbands who write to me are fixated on just one thing: one event, one person, one scenario, one sexual act, just this one thing about their wife's past that they can't seem to stop thinking about. Now, regardless of what did or didn't happen in your wife's past, dealing with unwanted curiosity and intrusive thoughts can be exhausting, depressing, and extremely frustrating. And let me be absolutely clear. There is no overnight fix for retroactive jealousy concerning your wife's past. To get to the bottom of this issue takes some effort, humility, dedication, and an open mind. And as I've learned, after working with hundreds of one-on-one coaching clients and students taking my online course, retroactive jealousy is not just about what did or didn't happen in your partner's past. To get to the bottom of retroactive jealousy, we need to get to the bottom of our values, our expectations, our conception of ourselves and our partner, our childhood, our own sexual past, and much more. All of this is to say, retroactive jealousy is complicated. I wrote an entire book and designed a 10+ hour online course on this very topic. However, if you're struggling with your wife's past and you're looking for a way to start healing, here are 5 suggestions and mindset shifts you can implement immediately. Now, I have a lot more to say about this topic, but hopefully this will serve as a good starting point. And buckle up, this is going to be a bit of a lengthy one. And to be clear, this advice is based on my own experience of retroactive jealousy and the experiences of thousands of readers, students taking my online course Get Over Your Partner's Past Fast, and one-on-one coaching clients. Suggestion number 1, stop talking to your wife about her past. Now, I've covered this issue at length in other videos and blog posts, so I'll keep this point brief. However, if you want to stop the bleeding as quickly as possible, the first step is to immediately stop asking your partner questions about her past. Now, I know it's tempting. I know you can't stop thinking about it. And I know there's a part of you that thinks that if you get the answer to just 1 or 2 more questions, you'll find some peace. But let me tell you from experience, retroactive jealousy doesn't work that way. You can't think or reason your way through this issue, really. And your wife can't solve this problem for you, no matter how much she divulges about her past. What's more, the more information you receive, the more you'll think you'll need. It's a never-ending cycle, like a junkie who promises himself he just needs one more fix. It just doesn't work. Chances are good that if you found this video, you already know way too much about your wife's past already. And chances are also good that you have the answers to the most important potential deal breaker questions about your wife's past, which we're going to cover in just a moment. So for now, be disciplined with yourself and commit to stop talking to your wife about her past at least for the next 2 months. Oh, and stop the Facebook/social media stalking as well. I can promise you that no good will come from it. Suggestion number 2, think hard about your values and commit to a decision, one way or the other. I wrote an article/video about values, which I will link to below, and I'd encourage you to take a look at it. But in brief, one thing I've learned over my many years working on this issue is that the people who work their way through retroactive jealousy are the ones who get clear about their values and whether or not their partner shares their values. It's extremely difficult to get past your wife's past if you're still grappling with whether or not your wife's past is a deal breaker. Now look, I get it. It's confusing. You might love your wife. She might be the mother of your children and the woman you see yourself growing old with. But still, there are these nagging questions relating to her past. How could she let herself do those things? What kind of woman would do that? Why can't I stop thinking about it? What does her past say about who she is and who she could be in the future? Now, 9 times out of 10, the man struggling with these questions does not exactly have a squeaky clean past himself. But anyway, retroactive jealousy can seriously warp and distort our perspective on what is normal and not normal, what is and isn't acceptable, what's a deal breaker, and what's not. This is the single most misinterpreted aspect of my work on retroactive jealousy. When I tell you that retroactive jealousy is your problem and not your partner's, I am not saying that your partner's past isn't a deal breaker. Of course, your values may be different than mine, and anyway, I have no idea. What I am saying is that A, your partner can't solve this problem for you, and B, you have a decision to make, one way or the other, before you can move forward. Many men act like the victim with regard to their wife's past, and in my mind, acting like the victim and being indecisive is the antithesis of masculinity. So don't put it off. Do whatever you need to do to get clear about your values and decide one way or the other. Do I want to leave my wife or work through this issue? Is this aspect of my wife's past a deal breaker or not? Do I want to put in the work to get past this and save my marriage or not? Spending extended periods of time in solitude can be enormously helpful when making this decision. So can meditation, physical activities like running, cycling, or hiking, spending time with trusted male friends, an extended solo road trip, or speaking with a good therapist. Whatever decision you make, be sure you make it during an extended period when you can think relatively clearly, not in the midst of a panic or anxiety attack, or when your retroactive jealousy is at its height. Take my word for it. Many men make a rash decision about their wife's past before they begin putting in the work toward overcoming retroactive jealousy, and then they regret it for years afterward. So don't necessarily rush your decision, but in the interest of your personal sanity / peace of mind, don't put it off forever either. Whatever decision you make, give it some serious consideration and commit one way or the other. Ask yourself, am I going to overcome this issue or not? It really is as simple as that. Now, if you are committed to overcome this, truly in your heart of hearts, and you're willing to put in the work, you will accomplish your goal. But what is not an option is keeping one foot in, one foot out of the relationship, sporadically punishing your wife for her past for the foreseeable future. The fact is, many, if not most modern women, have episodes from their past they regret or feel shame around. And of course, your wife can't change your past, and neither can you. That leaves you to, as the ancient Stoics like to say, focus on what is within your sphere of influence and disregard everything else. Anything else is madness. If you do decide to leave, let me tell you that it might not ultimately solve your problem, because retroactive jealousy has a nasty habit of following people through multiple relationships. So don't say you weren't warned. Suggestion number 3, rely on your own internal compass when it comes to your wife's past. With the explosion of the blogosphere and YouTube and endless available information from an endless number of sources, I often say there's never been a better or worse time to be dealing with retroactive jealousy. On the one hand, there's a lot of high-quality information out there, written by thoughtful, responsible people with a genuine aim to help others. Unfortunately, at the same time, there are numerous bitter, misogynistic, ridiculously insecure men out there who think they have all the answers when it comes to women, who is wife material and who is not, what is an acceptable number of past partners, who is a slut and who's not, and how to think about a woman's past. But it's not up to them or me or anyone else to tell you how to think about your wife's past. So rely on your own internal compass, whatever decision you make. Be careful about the information coming in, and be careful who you turn to for guidance. Beware of people trying to get you to conform to their ideology and infect you with their bitterness and insecurity. Life is confusing. We all make mistakes, we all have regrets, and hopefully most of us are trying to be a better person tomorrow. Hopefully that also describes your wife. Be sure that you aren't buying into an ideology or perspective which is going to rob you of what you truly value in your life. Which leads me to suggestion number 4. Look at the woman your wife is now compared to the woman she was in her past. Are you the same person you were when you were 20? I hope not. I look back on my former self and some of my past decisions, and I cringe. Now, I try to be kind to myself, and I accept that I was then and am now a work in progress, and all of my mistakes led to the man I am today, and yada yada yada. However, at the end of the day, most of us have a few not-so-pretty episodes from our past. Your wife is likely no different. And it's likely that your wife's past isn't all that different from many other modern women. And even if what you're struggling with is completely normal in your eyes, you're clear on her values, and your wife has no regrets, hopefully she's a more developed, well-rounded, more thoughtful woman today than she was years ago. So think about how your wife has changed since you met her. Ask yourself, has she demonstrated good values? Is she committed to self-improvement? Has she improved your life as a man? Does she bring joy, love, fulfillment to your life? Now, if the answer is no, your marriage has a much bigger problem than just retroactive jealousy. But if the answer is yes, you have a lot to be thankful for. And isn't your wife's love, her affection, your joy and fulfillment more important than her past? On a related note, ask yourself, why did I marry this woman? What led me to make that decision? Really sit down and think about it. Think about how you felt about your wife when you first started dating, when she was still a delightful mystery. Think about the woman you met back then and how you were so taken with her. Then remember, in many ways, she's still that woman. Yes, she has grown in age and character, but you are still dating the woman you call your wife, believe it or not. This is a useful perspective to keep in mind, especially when you're struggling with retroactive jealousy. It reminds you to continue courting your wife, that she is never truly yours, and that sense of mystery and your longing for intimacy, connection still remains, regardless of your current stresses, stories, and all of the emotional baggage that can build up through the years. Reflect on all of the gifts your wife has offered you, and make an effort to cultivate the spirit your romance had at the very beginning. Because if you fell in love with your wife in the first place, you can fall in love with her all over again. So have fun with your wife. Be curious and playful. Tease her. Take her on dates, and treat them as opportunities to get to know her better, her hopes and dreams, the woman she is and the woman she wants to become. And always remember that though she may be your wife, she is first and foremost her own woman, learning and growing just like the rest of us, and entitled to her past, mistakes and all. Retroactive jealousy can take an enormous toll on relationships. Retroactive jealousy has been responsible for more than a few divorces, and it's highly likely that your wife can sense your pain and unease about her past, even if you haven't told her about it. So at this critical juncture, it's absolutely crucial that you prioritize your personal development and solving this issue. But don't neglect the relationship entirely either. Take this opportunity to inject a more playful, lighthearted energy into your relationship. It'll be good for both of you. Remember why you married her, and she'll start to remember why she married you. Now, if you've made it this far and you're committed to healing, now it's on you to find and follow a plan for healing. Now, the masculine in all of us seeks direction, planning, an end goal in sight. And if you've decided that your end goal is overcoming retroactive jealousy, you now need to put together a plan to get there. Now look, I offer a guidebook and online course, not to mention a completely free mini course on my website that has helped thousands of men like you start making peace with their wife's past. But if you're not interested in my work, no worries. The point I'm trying to emphasize here is that you need to try something. So read some new books on psychology and self-help. Find a therapist, counselor, or coach. Double down on your gym routine. Take a trip with some trusted male friends. Even better, join a men's group in your area. Start journaling every morning. Explore cognitive behavioral therapy or hypnotherapy. Sign up for a meditation retreat. Try something new. Anything. Write down some initial strategies and ideas. And remember, as I said earlier, overcoming your wife's past does not have an overnight solution. However, I have hundreds of emails in my inbox from readers, clients, and students who made major progress in as little as a week or two because they put in the work. It really is possible, but you simply must put in the work. Unfortunately, retroactive jealousy is not an issue that simply sorts itself out. It might take you a minute to find the plan that works for you. Retroactive jealousy is a complex problem which usually requires a multi-pronged, multifaceted solution. The point is to reject the victim mentality and take a step each and every day which gets you closer to your goal of making peace with your wife's past, whatever that looks like for you. Even the steps that don't seem to get you closer to your goal are actually serving their purpose. While it's crucial to find out what works, it's equally important to find out what doesn't. So don't just sit there stewing or looking for guidance or comfort in dodgy internet forums at 3 a.m. I'm serious. Take a step right now after you're finished reading or watching this to get you closer to your goal. Your happiness, mental clarity, and peace of mind all depend on it, not to mention your relationship. I have received many, many emails from men whose relationships could no longer bear the burden of retroactive jealousy. Simply put, if your wife can no longer stand your being hung up on her past, make no mistake, she will leave. And who could blame her? No one can put up with retroactive jealousy indefinitely. So take a moment right now to discover and commit to a path for healing before it's too late. With the proper dedication, work ethic, and an open mind, you absolutely have the power to make peace with your wife's past. It's up to you. Thanks for listening. If you're curious to learn more about letting go of intrusive thoughts about your wife's past, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com.